Thank you for joining us at Beer Fish Fanatics. And this episode is actually brought to you by Whisker Seeker Tackle.
So make sure you guys go to whiskerseeker.com for all your catfishing gear.
Enjoy the episode, guys. This episode is brought to you by Kalona Brewing Company. If you live in Eastern Iowa, make sure to swing by Kalona Brewing Company's tap room. Amazing food and amazing craft beer. If you live in Central Iowa or in the Midwest, swing by your local supermarket and see if they carry the Kalona Brewing Company line of beer. And also swing by your local restaurants, local bars, see if they have Kalona Brewing Companies on tap. If not, make sure you guys request it. I kid you not, you won't regret that. Other than that, enjoy this episode, guys. Thanks for the tip, by the way, Tyler, on that local pond. I caught fish. My kids didn't, but I took them out, not ice fishing during the open water season. So I caught fish, but it was kind of cool. So
good deal.
There we go. All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Beer Fish Fanatics. This is Grandy with Ma Pa Fishing. We have
Kit with the Fishing Kit YouTube channel.
And today we are joined again by Mr. Tyler Stubbs of the Iowa DNR. We asked him back because there's a few questions that I had on my mind. I've been wanting to ask Iowa DNR. We haven't had you guys back on for quite some time, so figured we get you guys back on. Thanks, Tyler.
Absolutely, happy to be here.
There we go.
And Tyler, you're the community's fisheries biologist, right?
Yeah.
I know some of these towns don't like being called urban and whatnot.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, there's definitely a mix of urban and suburbia and non-urban. So community fits the whole thing.
There you go. Nice. Quick shout out to our sponsor, Kalona Brewing Company. I'm drinking something new today. I haven't had this one yet. My wife saw it and she was about to drink it, but I said stop because I wanted to try it out. It's the coconut Abbey Belgian style ale. I don't think I've ever had that yet. Have you had that, Kit?
I thought it was gonna be like this.
Oh.
I thought it was gonna be like this one, but then look at the alcohol on there.
It's holy shit, it's 9.2. Well, I guess I'm drinking for two people here. I'll drink for Tyler in this one. All right. Oh my good. What do you got, Kit?
I got the Aloha Aya, same beer I had from last time. It's pineapple Belgian style ale. Yeah, I thought I was gonna grab one of those, and I was like, wait a minute, this ain't the same. Looked at the alcohol, I was like, nah, not tonight.
So you can see that Kit was a smart one. I was obviously just grabbed it, and I'm like, coconut, that sounds interesting. So, all right, cheers, guys. All right, I was hoping to have like a huge coconut taste to it. It doesn't, by the way. It's actually, it almost tastes like a blonde ale. I don't know. Yeah, it almost kind of reminds me of a blonde ale on that. So not bad though. It's Belgian style. Oh, there it is. The aftertaste. I can taste it now.
It showed up.
It showed up. The coconut shows up at the end. It's a hint of it. Oh, nice. But yeah, I just wanted to get Tyler back on and really just see how everything is going on with the project and everything that I know that you work on and everything. So if you don't mind, in case people, who haven't listened to previous episode with you on, can you kind of just briefly just describe what you do for the Iowa DNR really quick and how your project is coming along?
Yeah. So as the state's community fishing biologist, I work with communities across the state. It was meant to focus on our urban areas, our larger urban areas. So, Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Davenport, and then the suburbs around those. But last couple of years, I've worked quite a bit more with some of the smaller communities in the state too. And the whole point of it is that those are where our people are. And so the majority of our license holders, which I know Jeff's been on here and talked about this too, is that's how, us in fisheries and wildlife and law enforcement, that's how those three groups are funded. And so license dollars are important. And when the majority of your people live in these, 5 or 6 blocks of the state, that's just a place we hadn't really focused on in the past. And so trying to create fisheries close to where people live, easily accessible, that have amenities. And so my job is to work with the cities on, especially stormwater retention ponds is a big portion of my job. And that's what a lot of these urban ponds are, is working with the communities to make sure that they're built in a way that can sustain a fish population. And then we work with them afterwards with the stocking and management and marketing of those and signage. So all those things to hopefully get people out and fish without really having to go anywhere. I mean, a lot of these, they can hop on a trail and without going too far, they're up to a public fishery.
Speaking of the license sales, have you seen any like upticks since we last spoke to you last year?
So I haven't seen the 2021 numbers yet. You know, those expired just a few days ago. You know.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I haven't seen what the final numbers of those look like. I'm going to envision they're probably down a little bit from 2020 just because 2020 was so high, right, with the pandemic. 2021, a lot of things are back. People are back to work, going to work, but you've also got organized sports are back and, you know, baseball, softball, soccer, all those things that take up time. Those are all back. So I envision that they're probably down a little bit from 2020, but I'm not sure. That's just a guess.
Yeah, no, that makes sense though. I mean, we were 2020, we were pretty much doing nothing. So, I mean, technically the whole US was doing nothing. So of course everybody was out fishing, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's portions in 2020, you go into a sporting goods store, they're short on rods and reels and tackle and ammunition and guns and or taking up hunting and fishing, which is great. And hopefully they continue.
Yeah, I think we were kind of lucky too in a way in Iowa, because I know in 2020, yes, there were shortages of certain fishing items here and there, but it wasn't like it was complete bare, because I know my brother-in-law's out there in Denver, Colorado. It was bare there. It was beyond. They showed me pictures and and they're like, it was unbelievable in 2020 and actually a lot of 2021 for them too. They're like, it's still pretty bare here and there. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I remember seeing posts on Facebook. People were showing pictures of their store shelves totally empty of fishing stuff. Like, wow, like like Brandy was saying, I don't think we got hit as bad here in Iowa.
Yeah,
but it was good to see from my perspective of those urban ponds. If you drive through Ankeny, you're going to see people fishing. But last year when you drive through Ankeny and you're trying to pick a pond, that doesn't have that you maybe want to yourself a little bit or something, you maybe had to hit 5 or 6 before you got to one that had very few people on it. So it was good people were getting out and using those.
Very true. What kind of feedback have you gotten from I guess you can say from the public in regards to these ponds? I mean, has it been positive, negative in any which way possible in regards to this project you're a part of and everything? I mean, what kind of response have you gotten from the public?
It's been positive. I mean, you've got, the cities are the ones doing the work, right? They own it. They're the one mowing it and maintaining it. And we're just helping with the guidance on the vegetation and the fishing, and the fish management. Probably the biggest complaint is vegetation. And so, those ponds get weedy during the summer. And that's, there isn't any way around it. I mean, they're a natural, they're a pond. And so you're going to have aquatic vegetation there. And being able to control that is, especially in 2021, was really hard to do. It was dry, water was stagnant, water was low, and so that opened up more area for vegetation to grow. And it was so warm for so long that it made it hard to control with like an herbicide, just because you're putting more stress on those fish as that vegetation dies because it's already so hot and there's no fresh water coming through. And so 2020 was kind of a struggle to make sure we kept the vegetation in check, but the cities do an awesome job of, one, allowing public access to those and being willing to work with us to promote that and get the word out and be able to stock fish. And the cities, I mean, hats off to them. They do an awesome job maintaining those places.
For sure.
There hasn't been, I'm going to go on the opposite end of the spectrum. There hasn't been any, trying to think of a decent way to say this, but has there been any like stinker ponds that kind of just didn't go the way you guys were expecting?
As far as like the fishing is concerned?
Yeah, as far as like the fishing's concerned.
Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, there's some that with the way they're built, we like to have them be built with, or we hope that they're built, and the guidance is that they have a max depth of 10 to 20 feet, average 10 maybe, and then they've got a little steeper sides instead of having them really be drawn out and gradual. When we have drawn out gradual shorelines, that's usually when we have the weed problems. There's been a couple that have been built really well, and for whatever reason, especially the bass haven't seemed to reach their potential yet as quick as we thought they would. But for the most part, we're getting to the point now where we can kind of tell what they're going to end up being, and they've been pretty consistent with how we've stocked them. And so, we stock with bass, bluegill, catfish. Probably what I would say as a fishery that hasn't turned out is the perch that we've tried. Some of the perch ponds haven't turned out for multiple reasons. One is we've kind of learned that these perch need a couple of years by themselves to be able to get established. And if they get bluegills in there, that's direct competition. Obviously, if we get bass in there, perch is shaped like a hot dog, it's so, we get a predator in there. And so we've had some issues with other species getting into some of those ponds too early. Some of that, it could be from the public, I don't know, but it's very likely it could be through stormwater transfer. And so we know that those perch move too. And some of the perch in the I think it was the plaza ponds that we had there in Ankeny off Ore Labor. Those were tagged as part of a project there at Iowa State. And after one pretty good rain event, a good storm, a couple of those tag fish ended up down at Sawgrass, which is, half mile downstream maybe, but it's the next pond down. And so those fish do move. And so we've been trying to plan out, if we try these perch stockings in the locations that don't have any sort of close connection to another water body, so we can hopefully get those fish going without fish moving in on us. No, I was just gonna say the perch ones are ones that haven't done exactly what we wanted.
Gotcha, makes sense. And so you're telling us and the listeners, if you're trying to catch bass, use lures that look like perch, right?
It can't hurt. I know that.
There you go. So, I mean, just because we have listeners from literally all over the nation, all over the world, just kind of give you guys a heads up. I mean, I don't know if other states do this in regards to programs of, urban fisheries and stuff. So like you're saying, I've gotten nothing but amazing feedback. And even my brother-in-laws from Colorado, they're super jealous because they're like, what the heck? You get to go literally a block down from my house, or I get to go, I live in Pleasant Hill, so I can go to Altoona, like a 2-3 minute drive. I can check out all these ponds, different species and fish. And they're just like, they're jealous. So I don't know. So just kind of give everybody a heads up that, you're part of a program where there's tons of these ponds all around the city. And like you're just saying, I guess an urban environment, I mean, in a way, but it's pretty cool because like you're saying, you're just a few minutes away. You can literally just go and fish. So it's really cool what you guys are doing. And now, are you guys still stocking these ponds, I guess you can say, or are you guys just letting it, I guess I don't want to phrase this. I guess, are you guys still stocking these ponds, or are you guys just taking numbers first before you restock them, or how does that work? How does that process work in regards to restocking these ponds that you're working on?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I guess from your earlier point, there's a lot of states that do have urban programs. A lot of them, especially the larger states, Texas is a big one. They've got a huge urban program. Of course, you've got Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, and so Austin, and they do a lot more stockings than we do. I mean, they'll stock, catchable catfish and trout really throughout the year, maybe once a month in some of their locations. So they do a lot of stockings. We definitely do not have the hatchery capacity to do that. And so as far as our stockings go, if it's a brand new pond, we'll stock it with bass, bluegill, and catfish to start. And then kind of based on how that goes, usually those bluegill, they're going to spawn multiple times a year throughout the summer. And so they're very self-sustaining. The bass are going to do the same thing, only once, but they're going to spawn. They don't have any problem spawning in these ponds. It's the catfish that typically struggle to have successful reproduction. And so they require a cavity to build their nests in and to spawn. And so if it's just a bare bottom pond, obviously there's nowhere for them to go. Even if there is a little bit of habitat there that they could spawn in, a little catfish is, unfortunately for him, he's a pretty slow swimmer. And he's pretty easy to pick out for a bass to munch down. So a successful catfish reproduction in some of these urban ponds would be very minimal, if any. And so we'll typically try to restock these catfish populations every 3 to 5 years in a lot of these, knowing that people likely do keep catfish when they catch them. One, they can identify it and they taste good, but usually they're pretty good size. We've got some ponds that'll average, 3 to 4 pounds, and that's the average size. And so usually they're pretty good size fish. And then we just kind of run them as a farm pond from there. So we try to manage that population and hope people are keeping fish. Just keep your limits, but hopefully they're keeping fish and harvesting some of those fish, especially bluegills. And, the more harvests that we tend to see, there's less fish in the population for competition, and those fish tend to grow a little faster. But as far as the stocking goes, those are the 3 species that we stick to. That's a tried and true method. Since the 40s, really is kind of the basis of pond management has been those 3 species. It's simple to do, predator prey, and then the catfish is kind of a bonus, really. The other stuff like perch or hybrid striped bass in some of the pits would be another one that will supplement. So like Gray's Lake in Des Moines, Blue Heron in West Des Moines, those types of fisheries will supplement with hybrid striped bass every few years. And then we've got the trout that we've got in 18 locations, and they just get 2 times a year. But we're not trying to manage that population. That's what they would call a put and take. And so we're putting those fish in there for you to take them out.
Those trout, during the summertime, since trout are kind of like a cold water species, do they typically just die off after a certain amount of time?
Yeah, so I want to say it's around the 70-degree mark is where, if we've got sustained water temperature around that, that's about to their tipping point. Some of our research has shown that it's like 80% of those fish are caught within the first couple of weeks.
Oh, wow.
So, that's why we're not stocking. A lot of these locations will receive like 1,000 or 1,200. They're not receiving 10,000. And it's for that reason. We want to be able to stock enough that you've got a really good chance to catch fish and catch your limit, but not too many that we could potentially be wasting some of those fish. So, but yeah, they get hit pretty hard those weeks that they're in there, and they're fairly easy to catch.
Yeah, I think I went too late. I think the 80% was caught when I went. I was like, shit. I couldn't catch one for the life of me. I think after they stocked the trout, I think I went maybe like 3 weeks after. I was like, shoot, I think I might have missed the bite.
Yeah, those trout, well, they act weird. in each location too. They're a little different, but they tend to go kind of counterclockwise in a circle. As soon as we stock them, they just run that shoreline for the first few days, really, in a big group or a couple big groups, and then they eventually start breaking into smaller and smaller groups, and then they kind of just start acting like they've been there forever and start moving around as a single fish. But those first few days, if you're not catching any, it's good to move, because there's a good chance there's a ball of them somewhere.
Gotcha. Good tip.
Yeah. With those trout, are we still doing do the ice stockings this season?
There will be some in a few locations. I don't know what's been decided on the ones around, the Des Moines area, or Ames would be another close one. I'm not sure what's been decided on those as far as the ice stockings go, but the ones up in Moreland and Sioux City and Mason City, I'm assuming that those are going to be what they've typically been through the ice.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because before, I know, since COVID and stuff happened, you guys used to announce those dates, but are you guys still kind of just sneaking them out there?
Well, sneaking is a strong word, but yeah, they are. We prefer to call it unannounced.
Gotcha. But, stealthy.
But yeah, that's. I think that's still the plan going forward for this spring. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, usually like in the fall, we'd stock them on a Thursday, and typically the city would put out information either Thursday afternoon or the next day, and then we'd put stuff out on social media a couple days later. So it was usually within a couple days of those fish being stocked that the information would be out.
Okay, gotcha.
Makes sense. Stealthy. I like that one, Kit. Good one. I kind of wanted to ask you a little bit. I don't know if you. I know it's not your forte in a way, but you kind of touched a little bit about farm ponds. So I think we have some listeners, or I'm actually just kind of curious. If I had a pond in my backyard, or if somebody has a huge pond, they have a lot of land, or what the case, what's the process of me having my own personal farm pond and everything, reaching out to the Iowa DNR to help me in regards to stocking it and just questioning how does that work? And I guess you can say, is that something that you know about or anything like that?
Yeah, so we get, obviously, especially Southern Iowa, we get a lot of farm pond calls from private landowners, whether it's, what to do about a certain situation, or what kind of plant is this? Those are very common. Typically, what works well is if you have a farm pond in Polk County, let's say, you could contact on the DNR's website. We've got each biologist's contact information and a map of what areas they cover. And so you would contact the district biologist, which for this area is out of Boone. Mm-hmm. And you can ask your questions from there. As far as fish stockings go, there's a number of private hatcheries in the state that you can purchase fish from. We've got a listing of that on our website, but if you email your district biologist or myself, I can supply you with that list. We've also got, what types of species and the number per acre that you would typically stock. And so a lot of that information is on our website. And, although we don't supply the fish for farm ponds, if there's questions that people have on the management or something like that, we're happy to help try to answer those as best we can to make sure that you're on the right path anyway.
Have you been out fishing yet this season?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me that. No, I haven't been. I've had a couple opportunities that I thought were going to pan out, and I just have not made it out yet. I'm hoping I'd kind of plan on going out Saturday. I guess I'll see how much snow I've got to move to get up. But hopefully I can get out this weekend if we don't have as big a snowstorm as they say that we're going to have.
Yeah, hopefully we only get 7 inches instead of 11 that they were saying up to. Jeez.
Yeah, the last thing I really want to see is 11 inches of snow right now. But
Right. Especially on top of our ice here in central Iowa. We only got, I'd say, like 6, 7 inches in most places.
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of what I've been hearing is about around that 6-inch mark.
Yeah. I just got off Raccoon River Park, and I know we were just talking about it, but yeah, it's getting pretty soft on top, and I'd say there's about 6 inches or so.
Yeah, I noticed on a couple ponds that I drive by on my way home, there's some water standing on top.
Yeah.
As this little snow that was out there had melted a little bit. So
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the snow.
No. Sorry about that. Back should be good to go.
Good to go.
I think. I hope so. All right. So this is a question that I think me and Kit we had on our previous podcast, and I just want to know, Tyler, does fish sleep? Because I don't know, maybe Kit and I had maybe too many beers. I don't know. We were just talking. Maybe it was me. I don't know. It was probably the case, but I've always wondered. I mean, we were talking. We're like, I don't know. Do fish sleep? I
have not seen like what kind of bed they use or anything like that, but they do. They can slow down to the point that they're what's the word I'm looking for? They're not necessarily asleep, but I mean they're having trouble finding a word. But yes and no, but not in the sense that a human does, or a dog does. But they do slow down and conserve energy and rest and sorry about that, and all those things. It's just they're not laying on their sides, floating around doing thing. But if it is sleeping, you probably wouldn't be able to tell.
Right. They don't have eyelids, so they can't close their eyes either.
Right.
It's okay. So that's, I was just wondering. So they probably just stay at a spot and rest or something like that, right? I guess. Okay. That's what we figured. All right. You answered my question on that because I've always wondered. I was like, we were just talking. We're like, damn, like Kit was saying, they don't have eyelids. Like, what the hell? Do they sleep?
Yeah. I think the reason why we were talking about it, I know some people do pretty good at night when it comes to fishing. But for me, man, once that sun goes down, it seems like the fish just disappear. Like, where the heck do they go?
Like, do they go sleep?
Yeah, it's over. Yeah, it's bedtime, man.
Right.
Sometimes they, like during the spring, I do really well at night, like June. But yeah, when I'm ice fishing, of course, I'm not out ice fishing a whole lot at night anyway, I guess. But I 100% agree with you. When I've been out, it seems like 4:30, 5 o'clock, the sun's down, and my Vexilar might as well just be shut off.
Yeah.
That's exactly the thing. So okay, I mean that makes sense. Does I guess my other thing is, how does a lot of people I guess look into this a lot about moon phases and high pressure, air pressure, all that stuff. I mean, how much do you think, or how much do you know, does that affect the fish bite and whatnot?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't really have a good scientific answer for you, but I do know that I've done well personally in the summer. I chase bluegills around a lot during the summer months, especially. And it seems like right around that full moon phase is when I can typically start seeing some of those bigger, those bold bluegills moving shallow. And there's probably no scientific reasoning for it, but that's just something that I've noticed. As far as high pressure, low pressure, I don't know. I think every situation is probably different, and it probably affects species differently. That's not something I've really ever looked into. I usually just know if I go and catch a bunch of fish, I think I'm awesome. And if I don't, and the fish, something happened to them, I'm not sure.
With you.
I know I'm doing it right.
Right. Yeah, that high pressure thing always gets me because on those bluebird sky days, and I'm like really struggling, I'm trying to think, if the skies are high, that means there's a lot of pressure on the fish. And I'm thinking they should be deeper for some reason, even though I would think it'd be heavier on their their swim bladders, right? So, I mean, when you think about it that way, shouldn't they be shallow? I don't know, man.
It makes sense, I guess, because that I was kind of thinking along the same lines you were, is those high sky bluebird days, especially in the middle of the summer. I frog fish a lot, and those are some of my best days. Those nice still bluebird sky days. I tend to catch a lot of fish on the frogs those days. That's something. I don't know if do you guys frog fish at all?
Nope.
Kit's not a big bass guy. Well, not a largemouth bass guy. He's a big hybrid striped bass,
hybrid guy, yeah,
and white bass guy. But yeah, the green carp, that's not his thing. But maybe we can get him into it this year. Maybe what? We got to get him, because with that tippet, maybe you can get. I think you would be excited to see catching something off of a frog, Kit.
Oh yeah, topwater is awesome.
See,
yeah. So I could trade, a frog fishing trip to you, Kid. I think you've got to show me how to catch a catfish through the ice, because I'm still at zero for that.
I actually lost one at the hole today, right before I left. I got to relearn though. What was it? 2 years ago, I thought I had it figured. I went out there, caught like big 25 plus inches, for a few trips over the winter. And I was riding pretty high coming off that season. And then last season, I didn't catch anything through the ice. So it was kind of a wash.
I'm still zero. I haven't caught zero catfish through the ice. That's my goal this year. I told Kid already. I was like, that's my goal this year. I got it this weekend. I mean, pending the storm and everything, I have an opportunity to hopefully catch some catfish through the ice. I don't know what it's going to take, but yeah, I see all these pictures on social media though. Everybody makes it look so damn easy. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, what the heck am I doing wrong?
I know it. Everybody's catching catfish through the ice. It seems like. So,
okay. Here's what we need to do. We need to pull up that the map with all the community lakes on there, because they show what are stocked in those ponds and whether or not you can ice fish them. I think it's time I need to look at those maps and just all right, just suck up my ego. Okay, I'm gonna go fish in these people's backyards.
And it's not their backyard, but I know what you mean, Kid. It feels that way sometimes because where the pond's located. I'm like, shit, I kind of feel like I'm intruding a little bit, but I get it.
Yeah, some of those ponds they're 100% outside of the trail. You're surrounded by houses.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Those could be the tickets.
Because I know the short rod show boys. They like to hit those ponds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you guys listen to us, man, you guys got to hit us up. We got to go fish with those guys. I saw them just post the other day, Kit. They just slayed it on those catfish, man.
Yeah, they were holding a big catfish. That one picture.
I know.
Yeah, Ben hit his PB.
Man,
so that was a nice fish.
But I do admit what Kit was saying is true. Those maps that you guys have on the website, it's kind of cool because it shows what species are in the pond, obviously, and then on top of that, it lets you know if you can ice fish it or not. I really, that's kind of a good thing, because I don't want to go there if I'm not supposed to be on there, ice wise, because I looked at it, I was like, oh shoot, it says no or yes, because it literally says there, can you ice fish it or not? So that's really cool that you guys did that. Yeah,
that's something I'm continually working on. And some cities are still trying to figure, especially some of the cities that haven't had, any ponds before, they don't really have anything on the city ordinances regarding ice fishing or ice skating or any sort of recreation like that. So that's something I'm trying to keep updated. And I've got a lot of them in the Des Moines Metro are pretty well done. And I've kind of moved over to the 380 area with Iowa City and North Liberty and Coralville. And so trying to figure out over there where you can and can't. And then I've got some of the other ones spread out done. So that's still a work in progress, but hopefully that'll be something we can get completed on there. And then my next step after that will be kayaks and canoes. Ooh. So some of these places, especially these 1 acre ponds, you wouldn't expect to have somebody in a kayak out there, but some of them already have things on the books that say you can't do that, and some say you can. And so just trying to make sure we're answering people's questions before they can go out. So it's good information for them.
That's good. I cracked another one. I'm doing the Such a Much now, Kit.
He's so thirsty.
Hey, man, when you got 4 daughters, 8 and under, and they have moments, you get thirsty, man. This is my I told you, man, this is like my prime time to just be me when I got 4 girls on top of that. So there you go.
I wouldn't know.
Oh, man.
All right, cheers.
Cheers. Any movement in regards to ice fishing in Pleasant Hill or Altoona by chance, Tyler? I don't know if you heard. I know we talked about this on the last podcast. Kids like, "Dude, you gotta ask him that again." I go, "Well, shit, I live there." Yeah, I am.
We've had conversations. I'm not sure where things are at the moment on those, but it's something that we are trying to work on just to make sure we've got a clear answer, whether it is no or yes, but making sure that we've got a clear answer on it. But we're always willing to talk about fishing and ice fishing recreation to the cities and going through that whole process with ordinances and that. So I don't really have an update on it, I guess, but it is something that we've talked about.
Yeah.
Okay. So what can us as citizens do in that regard? Can we try to just rally a bunch of people together and like, hey, city of Pleasant Hill, we want this and make it happen, please?
I mean, I wouldn't say, gather a whole group, but
Right.
And take over, city hall somewhere. I'm not saying that, but if that is something that you want to see in the community that you live in, let them know. It just goes with anything else. If you want a stop sign on a certain corner or a bike trail somewhere, it's the same type of thing. And so, and they may not know unless somebody brings it up to them either. So that
Very true.
That's an interest of residents.
All right, I'll do it, Kit.
There you go, Gords. Get it together, man.
I gotta get it together because I'm not gonna lie. I drive by Copper Creek. I'm telling you, I'd love to jump on Copper Creek one of these days. Dang it! I'm like, I know it's got some monsters in there, man. That's why I'm like, I would love to get in there.
But the good thing is, you live in the Des Moines area, so even though you can't ice fish Copper Creek, you're not very far from places like Yellowbanks or Fort Des Moines, or some of those other places that you can ice fish.
Very true.
So that is a good thing to have anyway.
Nope. Very true. Very true. I was actually at Yellowbanks yesterday. I don't know. We're not supposed to say bodies of water, but that's okay. We can say that for this episode. But I was there yesterday. My kids killed it. They killed it on the bluegills, man. It got to this point, Tyler. My daughter did not want to go to school today. She was like, I want to go ice fishing, Dad. I go, you got school? She goes, no, Dad, can you just say I'm sick and we go ice fishing? I'm like, this is my 7-year-old daughter. I'm like, I was contemplating that until the wife looked at me like, dude, are you an idiot? No, she's going to school. You're not going to call in sick for your 7-year-old daughter to go ice fishing. I go, all right. But no, she was literally so stoked after yesterday. I took her out and she didn't even want to leave until she caught that one last fish. Because I was talking to Kid before we jumped on. She literally for maybe 20 to 30 minutes, I was packing up ready to leave. We're like, come on, honey, she's fishing. She goes, nope, I want this last one. She wants to catch the last fish. So, and she did. And then we finally was able to leave. But just to see her, that, that it excited me as a father to see her that adamant that I want to catch that last fish. Now she kind of gets it, like Kate was saying, like now she kind of gets it. Like we're like last cast, but it's like 20 casts most of the time. But you know how that goes.
Yeah, it's and ice fishing is a good sport to take kids out on. Those bluegills and crappies. A lot of times you're going to be schooled up, and gives you an opportunity to have some good action. And some constant action potentially. And it's just kind of cool. You're out there, you know, especially if you've got a, you know, some sort of sled or hut or something, you know, it's just kind of neat being out there. So yeah, it's a great sport to introduce people to fishing, because it's, you know, you can do it fairly cheap, but also like you were saying, you know, as a parent, you know, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, my kids love it because, like you said, if you have the tent, it's kind of like, it's almost like, you know, they have that fort. So they're inside of a whether it's a flip over or a pop-up hub. So to them, it's like a fort. We're inside, we're just talking. And man, they say the darndest things. I swear. I recorded everything yesterday because, you know, I had the YouTube channel and I just recorded everything. I'm just like, there's certain things here. I'm just like, man, they have it's innocence of no filter. That's so awesome. And I'm just like, they're the only one who could say certain things and get away with it type of thing. But no, you're right. So, I mean, they're excited. They want to go again, but they want to go with Kit now because they're like, Daddy, you don't get us on big fish. So I was like, shit. I was thinking to myself, like, thanks, hon. But they go, yeah, we want to go with Uncle Kit because you don't get us on big fish, Dad. I'm like, oh man, thanks, man.
The bar has been set so high. I don't know if I can live up to those expectations.
Too funny, man. One other thing, I don't know. I wanted to ask you, Tyler, a little bit, but there was a new. I know that has nothing to do with you because it's up in Clear Lake, but they set some new. What is it? What do you call it? Slot limits for the walleyes and stuff up there. Just wondering, I don't know if you heard it by ear or if you know a little bit more, if you can give us behind the scenes on that. Number one, you know, why did they start those slot limits? And number two, what's the goal behind that? Do you know by chance at all?
So you're right. I'm not involved in any of that. I mean, the slot limits are, a lot of times in fisheries, you'll see lakes move maybe even back and forth a little bit, but especially they'll move from minimum lengths to slot limits, kind of in that order, because a lot of times fish will stack up at that minimum length limit. You know, if you've got it at 15 inches, or just as an example, you know, if that fish is 15 inches and an eighth, it's gone. You know, it's harvested. Yeah. And so a lot of times you see fish that you'll see lakes that have had minimum length limits on them for a long time are full of 14 3/4 inch fish. And so having those slot limits helps kind of alleviate that pressure on the system. It gets a few fish to harvest, it encourages the angler to harvest more of those fish that are, you know, in that 14 3/4 inch group, and then protects that group that's going to grow a little faster now that there's less competition in the fishery. It's going to protect it for a little bit. So the idea is that it will give you more larger fish in the system. As far as specifically with the glacial lakes and up in northwest Iowa, you know, I'm not familiar with the management and that up there, so I can't speak specifically on those, but just in general, that's kind of how a slot limit would work.
Educated me. I had no idea. Makes sense.
Yeah, and they're trying to what's the dang word? They're trying to protect that certain size so they can basically spawn those fish out. Isn't that right?
Yeah. So those are the Iowa Great Lakes. Those are those are some of the main lakes that we'll use for brood stock to stock the rest of the state with walleyes. And so those are very important walleye fisheries to us. And so having those fish protected is important as the hatchery process goes forward.
I'm probably going down a rabbit hole here, but I know there's other lakes throughout the state that they kind of harvest fish to do the spawning program with. I'm wondering how come these other lakes, let's say in our area, Big Creek, I know they net and take fish from there for spawning. I'm wondering, like, how come they don't do that for those fish up there?
So we don't take any fish from Big Creek for spawning.
No?
So we have at Big Creek and in Brushy is the barrier project. And so during the same time, but we're simply tagging fish and putting them back. And so we're not any eggs. So yeah, we'll take fish from the Great Lakes, Clear Lake some years, Storm Lake, and Rathbun. I believe those are the main ones. And some of that has to do with the facilities, right? So we don't have any sort of hatchery type facility anywhere close to Big Creek. Mm-hmm. And so that's one reason for that, but we've got that study going on there as well. But, we've got the hatcheries at Spirit Lake and the hatchery at Rathbun. And then they've got a kind of a satellite hatchery there at Storm Lake that they utilize to get those eggs harvested. But yeah, Big Creek we're out there at the same time. I mean, that's the same time everybody else is out collecting those fish for the hatcheries, but we're simply conducting that tagging study.
Okay, that's where I got things mixed up. Because I was thinking about, there isn't really a hatchery around here, like when I think about it. But now it makes more sense. So I stand corrected. But yeah, that's pretty dang cool though. I want to get out there and kind of watch this whole netting and tagging thing. Is that something you guys are gonna be opening up to volunteers? Because I know you've done it in the past, but kind of gotten away from it last couple of years.
Yeah, I don't know what the plan will be for that. We kind of had, like you said, we got away from doing more volunteers just because of COVID. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I guess the way COVID's going right now, it's not looking great. But
right.
But yeah, the netting and we'll net and do electrofishing at Big Creek. It's at night. We do multiple days of that in a row. And those fish are weighed and measured and tagged and checked for tags and then put back. So it's a cool process. There's lots of good fish out there, and Big Creek's just a cool lake. I wish I knew how to fish it better.
Kid knows kinda.
I did. My first day out on the ice was decent out there. And then I went back twice and got skunked. So it's kind of hit or miss for me. But do you have any surprises when you're doing those netting surveys?
I don't know if I'd say surprises. I can't think of really any surprises we've had here, I guess. We've seen some nice, like, largemouth bass. We've seen some big catfish. But as far as something that's not supposed to be there, I guess, no. It's not like, when we're going along with the electrofishing boat in an urban pond or a community pond and, pop up a 15-inch goldfish. That would be something unusual.
You ever see any freshwater drum in these nets, or when you electroshock the fish?
Yeah, we'll see freshwater drum from time to time for sure. Yep.
Yeah, I want to know, like, what's the biggest drum that you've seen doing this? I know that's very specific, but I know they get really big.
I've seen some big ones. As far as weight goes, I have no idea what they would have weighed. But yeah, there's some big freshwater drum out there to be caught, that's for sure. There's some big carp suckers, common carp. There's some fish out there that would be fun to catch, that's for sure, that aren't your typical sport fish.
It's the reason why they got that big, though, because they don't get caught.
Right, they're smart.
Yeah. Let's change it up a little bit, Tyler. We've been drilling you with a bunch of questions and everything, but what's your goal for ice season? Because we got maybe a month and a half or two left. What are you trying to target? What are you going to be ice fishing for this year?
So I've got daughters. I've only got two, so you've doubled up on me. But we like to head out to to one of the places that we stock trout, and the girls really like catching trout. If you got trout through the ice, they just go berserk. When you bring them through the hole, they're flipping and you can't hardly grab them, and they just hit the ball. So we'll probably try to catch some trout. I would really like to figure out how to catch a catfish. I don't want to catch a bunch of catfish. I just want to say I caught a catfish. It'd be nice to know how to learn how to do it. That would be, an ice fishing goal for me, I guess, is to catch something new I haven't caught before.
All right, Kit. But Tyler's been on here twice. Let's make this shit happen for Tyler, dude. I got your number, Tyler. We'll set something up. We'll get you on some catfish, or at least we're gonna focus on catfish for a day. We got to do this.
We got to figure it out first, and then we can put him on the fish.
Agreed. Okay, agreed, kid. All right, that'll be our goal. Well, that's your goal, man. I'm just a talker. He's the fisherman. I just tag along with him. We'll figure it out how to catch these catfish on these ponds, and then we'll hit you up, and then we're like, all right, let's go, Tyler.
I like it. How about you guys? You got a specific goal you're looking at?
Everybody knows my goal by now. I'm with you. I'm in the same boat. I have not caught a catfish through the ice. That's my biggest goal. I guess you can say my secondary goal is to catch wiper, because I didn't catch a wiper through the ice last year. And after this guy spoiled me getting me on wipers, I'm like, shit, I got to get that wiper through the ice, and haven't had that. So I would say those are my two big goals. And then I guess my third goal would be to catch a new species. I have it through the ice. I actually did that, I guess, when I went to Colorado a couple weeks ago. I was up there with my brother-in-laws, and I caught a sucker fish through the ice. So that was a brand new species. Never caught it, but I caught it through the ice. So I guess I checked that one off the board in regards to my goals. So there you go. I'm same boat. We gotta get this guy. He's got to go get us get some catfish. What's your goal, Kit, for ice fishing right now?
Catch some catfish through the ice for one, so I can get you guys onto those catfish. And I just want to just keep getting out there, and I want to camp on the ice this season. I did it once last season, but I want to do it at least 2 times this season. And if I can just keep catching fish, I know I can catch bluegills. I think I spent all of last winter catching bluegills, so I'm kind of over bluegills. If I just get out there, catch other species like white bass, catfish, more walleyes. I didn't catch very many walleyes last season. And I guess more crappies too. Because last season, man, it was bluegills all freaking season. I'm kind of over bluegills.
Yeah, walleyes would be nice. I'm not gonna lie. You know what? Anything. Yeah, I think you're right. I think last year, I don't know why it felt like the ice season was a little rough. I don't know whether it was because of the weather or whatever the case may be. It was just a rough bite. I don't know if anybody felt that way. This season for me slowly has started decently. I've caught some pretty decent fish. But I still haven't hit, like I said, I gotta catch that cat. I think, man, we gotta do this, Kit. We gotta get Tyler on a catfish because he's never caught one through the ice. I haven't caught one through the ice. We got to make it happen because I think it will be a video worthy day.
Okay. How about this? What? Real quick, Tyler, can you go over the website where we can find these ponds?
Yeah, to the local page.
Yep. The is it just thefishlocal.com? Is that the right website?
Iowa DNR.gov/fishlocal.
There we go.
And you guys should go check it out. Like if anybody here is local in Iowa listening, go check it out. It's really cool. I actually use it quite a bit because like Tyler was saying, it's a really good opportunity to take your son, your daughter, niece, nephew out. A lot of these ponds are really accessible, and you're right, Tyler, because the cities do a great job of maintaining it because you can walk there. It is really accessible, really easy. You can take your kids to fish on these ponds, so it's really cool. So I highly recommend anybody who, and this is the thing, take your kids out. Do not go by yourself. If you guys got kids, niece, and nephew, take them out because you'll have a fishing partner for life. That's what I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build all 4 of them. I'm trying. The third one she's struggling. She's like, fishing is boring. Because her attention span is like, dude, I'm done in 2 minutes. But then again, she's only 4, so I get it. But the two oldest, they're there. They love it. They love when their rod just bends and just fighting the fish. So I'm telling anybody who's listening, take your kids, take your niece, nephew out. When you see the joy in their face when they catch a fish, it's just like, to me, there's no words that can describe it. So you should do it. Plus, like I said, you can always tell the boss lady or whoever that I got to go fishing with the kids. So there you go. That's my excuse.
Well, and those city ponds are good. Like I mentioned earlier, you don't have to travel far. And so if you've got kids, you're not spending a bunch of time in the car. It's quick and easy to get to. The nice thing too about being in town is, you need a snack or need a bite to eat. You're probably not too far from a Casey's for sure. And probably not too far from any of those places to get food. And it just kind of keeps growing as these cities continue to grow. I mean, when we kind of started looking into this back in 2016, we had identified around 65 or so public fisheries here in the Des Moines area. And now we're up to over 120.
Wow.
And so, as these communities continue to grow and these new neighborhoods sprout up, a lot of times stormwater management, which is the sole purpose, the main purpose why these ponds are being built is to provide stormwater management. Is, these ponds pop up and if the city owns them, we're going to be there to help provide that fishing opportunity.
It's awesome. I love it.
We've been averaging, from a statewide perspective, we've been averaging around 15 new ponds each year. And so those are either newly built, so brand new in the development somewhere, newly acquired. And so if there's maybe an HOA that can't maintain the pond anymore or doesn't want to, and the city takes it over, or the city purchases a piece of property that has a pond on it, or something that's renovated. And so that, it's an old pond that's been drained and dredged out and started over with a new fish population. And so looking ahead at 2022, I think we've got 16 new ones. Wow. If I remember right. The majority of those are in the Des Moines metro, but there's some other ones spread out across the state. So.
I haven't really hit the Des Moines metro ponds. I might have to start really focusing on that. Why not? Yeah,
anywhere from Waukee to Bonder, you've got places to go.
See, that's the thing. A lot of people don't know that. Maybe we should just mute that out, kid. I'm just kidding.
We can share all these places. I mean, there's a website. Literally, you go to the website, there's a picture of a fish. You just click on that little fish icon. It'll tell you everything you need to know about that pond.
Very true.
The thing we've done differently with the fish local map is it's a Google map. And so that's not something we've done before. Usually they're like an ArcGIS, like the fishing atlas is a GIS type of map. It works really well on your mobile device. But we decided to try something in Google, and I think it works. People seem to like it. You can set it as an actual default on your phone. And so if you just click on Google Maps, those ponds will automatically pop up without having to go to the website.
Yeah. No, I like it. No, I like what you guys are doing because I was just using my phone the other day and just like you saying, I can just zoom in, zoom out. It's pretty cool, Kit. I was just like looking at all these ponds and then you click on it and it tells you the species, it tells you the size of the pond, it tells you like you say, you can ice fish it or not. It's really cool. I love it. That's what I've been using. Especially when, like you said, take the kids or family or actually if we're just go shopping here and there, if there's a pond right nearby, if they're shopping, I mean, you got a rod in the back of the van or the truck or the car. I'm just saying, go ahead, have fun. And you go right there and just throw a cast or two. That's what I'm doing, man. I keep my rods in the car all the time now, just in case that stuff happens, and then boom.
Yeah, you have to. My wife bought me I don't know, it's like a 3 or 4 piece rod. So it's got a little case. It's only about that long.
4 piece? How long is that rod?
So it's a 6 foot rod or 6.5, I think. But it's a travel rod. And it's something I can throw underneath the back seat. And it's not just space. And it's easy to put on there and throw the reel on it. And I can fish for a little bit. If, like you said, if somebody's going shopping or softball tournament or something like that, we can take the rod with us and it's not taking up a bunch of room.
Exactly.
Nobody's stepping on it or shutting it in a car or anything like that.
Yep. Very true. Do you fly fish at all, Tyler?
I've attempted to. I wouldn't fly a fisherman by any means, but I do own one. It's something I've tried out. Not super successful at it. I've caught some bluegills. Those ponds are really nice because there's a whole lot of trees around them, so it's wide open. I'm not worried about snagging anything. It is something I'd like to get a little more into, to be honest with you, but we'll see what happens. But it's kind of fun to do something different. There's a lot of people that do fly fish, when I'm driving through town or stopping at a few ponds. It's pretty common nowadays, I guess, to see somebody fly fishing somewhere at one of those. So it's something that's definitely catching on.
Yeah. I picked up a rod. I haven't really caught any. Oh, I caught zero. I'm probably in your same boat, but you're further ahead because you caught bluegills. I haven't caught shit, so I'm excited. I'm gonna fly fish next year. I'm gonna try it quite a bit. Actually, I'm gonna try and, like you said, try something new. So
yeah, I thought it'd be fun to be able to to actually go to Northeast Iowa, fly fish a trout stream. I just think there's something about that just seems really cool to me. And so I'm hoping that that's something I can get to. I've got one of my good friends lives out in the Denver area. He's got huge into fly fishing. He's always sending me pictures of these nice trout he's catching with his fly rod. I don't know. I just think it'd be kind of neat to know how to do at least.
Yeah. You just check it off your list, like I caught a fish on a fly rod.
Yep.
Gotta do that, man. Man, it's been fun, dude. I not only have I learned a lot of new stuff, glad to have you back on, Tyler. I think if it's okay with you, if your schedule allows it, we'd love to have you back on at least once a year, if that's okay with you, because just to kind of know what's kind of going on with you, and also with the Iowa DNR and everything. You got anything else for Tyler, Kit?
Well, I wanted to ask you, what's new for this year, but you kind of touched on that already. Okay, so we're kind of in ice fishing mode right now. You got any plans as far as, I know we kind of just talked about the fly rods, but let's say open water goals as far as fishing goes, other than what we've already touched on.
Open water goals, it's something that I'm, obviously heavily involved with is these urban ponds. And so my goal has always been, especially living here in the Des Moines area, is I've only got a handful left, but I want to be able to say I've fished all of them so far. And so that's kind of something I've been focusing on every year is when we've got new ones, or if I live on the east side, but if I'm on the west side, I've got a fishing rod with me and I try to pond hop a little bit while I'm over there. And so I've only got a handful left to be to the ones that I know have a sustained fish population. And I'm not ones that I've just stocked a few weeks ago with all fish, but so that's kind of been my continued goal. And if we do travel somewhere, to Iowa City or Fort Dodge or, Cedar Falls or something like that, I try to at least stop and cast a line for a little bit. But yeah, my goal here in the Des Moines area is to be able to at least say I've fished all of them. I want to say I've got 4 left that I haven't done yet. So.
Okay, 4 left out of how many are we talking here?
So that would probably be out of like around 109, I want to say, because I think we did 12 or so last year, and we're up over 120 now. So,
wow.
I haven't caught fish at all of them.
that was my next question. I was gonna how many
but
of
I
them?
Fished all of them, but we've sampled. As far as our sampling is concerned, we've sampled all of them, and so that gives me a little bit of a insight into what I know is there, which some of those are pretty exciting. Yeah, but I'm definitely not catching the fish that we're seeing when we're out sampling sometimes.
Oh, hey, I'm not sure if we covered this before, but how do you sample these small ponds? I know you're not out there in a boat shocking these fish, are you?
Mm-hmm.
You are?
Yeah. So we electrofish those. and we've had a few places that we're kind of starting to get into trying to figure out more and more about these. You know, the electrofishing is not a cure-all as far as fish sampling goes. I mean, it gives you a snapshot of what you drove over, you know, in your boat. And so it gives you a snapshot of what the fish population average is. But as far as the bigger fish in the population and how many of the you know, much smaller fish are in the population, it just kind of gives you that average. And maybe you can pick up a big bass or something like that from time to time, but we typically don't see catfish at all when we're electrofishing. And so we've started to do some netting and learn a little bit more about our catfish populations that we have. But yeah, electrofishing, it's some ponds are a lot easier to get into than others, backing a trailer down, but there's some tight spots out there.
Right. I bet there's some tight little trails that you gotta go down, huh?
Yeah, it's all driving down trails for the most part.
Interesting. Yeah, seriously though, if you guys ever open that back up, I would love to see it. Like Kit said, like I'd love to be whether to be a, you know, a helping hand or whatever, or just kind of see how it's kind of done, how you guys are doing all that. It'd be really interesting because I know, like you said, I think a couple years ago, you guys used to have volunteers come and help you guys out, so that was kind of cool. But like you're saying though, with the way COVID's going right now, we'll see if that's ever going to open back up.
Yeah, it's definitely moving the wrong direction.
Yeah. Other than that, man, what you got, Kit? Anything else?
I think that's a good cutting off point here. Got any last statements for our audience, Tyler?
Well, I appreciate being on again, and yeah, I definitely want to continue to come on and keep this relationship going, especially if you're going to help put me on some catfish, Kit.
All right, we'll do that. So just
no, if you're going out, you know, we're in the middle of January, early part of January, you know, no ice is safe ice. Always check as you're heading out, you know, be safe about it. Pay attention to the weather and what the ice conditions look like. Your fishing license expired 3 days ago. And so make sure you're out picking that up. If you're trout fishing, get the trout fee. And if you have any questions at all, we're here to help. And, you know, go to that Fish Local page to find somewhere to fish. My contact information's on there. I'd be happy to answer your question. And if I can't, I'll point you to the right person that can. And so we're here to help you be successful and have a good, safe, successful fishing trip out there. So don't be afraid to ask questions.
Sure. No, thank you so much, Tyler. And we'll put all the links and everything in the show notes. We'll put everything how you can get a hold of Tyler if you need to. And then, like I said, anyone who's coming into the metro of Central Iowa, if you guys are curious, you guys want to take a look at it, I'll have the links and everything that we'll put in the show notes. No, thank you so much, Tyler, because your knowledge is well above ours, and it just really enlightens us. And I just love, I really do. I really love having you, Jeff, you know, anyone from the Iowa DNR on, because you guys just really teach us and inform us on new things. That's number one going on in Iowa. Number two is just about fish and water maintenance and all that good stuff. So it's really kind of cool to have you guys back, you know, on and really teach me and teach our listeners. Hopefully, maybe they're smarter than me. Maybe they're just like, whatever, they know the shit already.
Yeah.
Other than that, man, thank you so much, Tyler. We'll see you next time. And then we will, this is it, man. I make a promise. We are going to make it happen. Maybe, but we got to get you on. Kid just gave me that look like, dude, don't promise shit, man. But we are going to do it the best we can to get you on a catfish through the ice, Tyler, this year. Okay.
Sounds great.
Sounds good. Other than that, thank you so much.
All right, Tyler, thanks for coming on.
You bet.